here as well. KJ, we got the win. We got the win, but you look depressed, bro. You okay?
All I want them to do is to win normally. Why is everything got to be drama, Terry? Everything just got to be drama. Last minute winners, flipping comebacks from whatever nil down, mistakes galore, but then followed by beautiful, beautiful pieces of play and individual brilliance. I'm just tired, man. I'm tired. I am tired. Flipping now. We need to make sure we win this comp because I ain't going through all this crap just for us to flop in like the round of 16 against flipping, I don't know, Victoria Pleasant or something like that. You know, we need to get better. We need to get better. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, Terry. I know you're happy with the W, and for most of the game, we were good. Most of the game we were good, we controlled, we created some really good opportunities. But two things I want to highlight is one, the finishing. That finishing is the reason why I was stressed. We should have won that game like 5-1, you know, because I'm not going to take away from that beautiful finish from Dessers. That was top class, top quality. We need to be clear of these men. We should have been clear of these men. And time again, easy chances. Garnacho missing them, Ahmad missing them. It's kind of like against bigger teams in this competition, we are screwed, bruv. Like we are finishing. And these are little things that matter. We can't be hitting the post like Garnacho did from 5 yards out. When you have 1v1s with the keeper, you can't be hitting them in the chest. We've got to find the corners. So the finishing put us in this precarious position. What followed after that is what just topped you. It's the sloppy passing. After 60, what was it? 70, when you get to 70 minutes after the ball and all their kids who got more energy, it's kind of like these players decided, yeah, we got this now. We got nothing to worry about. And they was just so sloppy on the ball, giving it away. And from 70 minutes onwards, up until Rangers scored, they deserved that goal because they were picking up all our loose balls. They was fighting for everything in the middle of the park. And we just allowed them to get back into the game. Again, I want to win this competition, Terry. I said from day one, I don't care about the league because I don't think we do anything. We've won the Carabao Cup in the last 2 years. We've won the FA Cup last season. I'm cool with those as well. But we need to win this Europa League. And we can't win it playing like this with these kind of performances. I know you're happy with the control, but I'm going to be honest, man. It's Rangers with kids on the bench. If that is Lazio, who are the top team in the Europa League right now, you know, if that's Frankfurt, even if that's Spurs, actually, I don't know about that. That might be different. But you know what I'm saying?
Spurs sure went Rangers.
We will get punished, bro.
That's why I said, I look, I think me and you agree on more than what you actually think tonight, because I've said I wouldn't even put us in the top 5 to be favourites. And I said before I went live that the biggest thing I was going to call out was the finishing, because we should have been 3-4-5-0 up, or at least 3-0 up before they got their goal. There's no doubt about it. So that needs to be called out. What I will say is this, that the overarching performance, though, is still my focus, because unless we start getting those like that and then more consistent, we're never going to become a consistent team that can win. So I think that it's, for me, I think you can compartmentalize these things, but I do get your criticisms and I understand them. And as the euphoria of Bruno's winner wears away, you will look at them. And I'm sure that Amorim is going to call out some of those elements as well tonight, because he always does in that regard. And I wanted to ask you specifically about some of that, because for me, I felt Bruno and Collier in the middle worked well. And for the first time probably in his Man United career, starting a game in the number 10, you saw the very best of Eriksen. And I felt like when we moved it round and put Mainu in the middle and put Bruno up there, I felt we lost a little bit of control.
And I think that's where the downfall started. And Amorim, he kind of unconsciously undid what we built upon that game. Let's talk about the positives of that game. Eriksen has finally played in a position where he's born to play, and we look so much better creatively. You know, he and credit to him, he was actually pressing. I saw man got pressed by Ericsson, old man Ericsson with Iron Man heart. That was crazy. So big up to Ericsson because he brings a different kind of quality. Like Bruno, he's the guy that will just keep going, spam, spam, spam with his eye of the needle balls. His creativity is high. We know that, but he's a high volume passer when it comes to creating chances. Whereas Ericsson, what I like about him, he's got a little bit of touch of class. You know, he may not do it all the time, but when he does do it, he's making sure it's getting to where it's going to. And I appreciate his performance today. It was very good. And I was hoping when he came off that we would have saw Mainu in that position so that we could actually get to see him in that role. Because I personally think if you're going to pick the 8 in Amarim's system or the 10 in Amarim's system, I think Mainu would probably perform better in that position. But I think Amarim stumbled upon something that may work in the short term, which is I know we love Bruno close to the goal. Hey, look what happens when he's close to the goal. He makes that run, excellent ball from Martinez, and he scores the goal. But in terms of deep lying creation, it is a lot better with Bruno in there next to a Collier, next to Ugarte, than he would be Kobe, because he's not that kind of footballer. He's not that kind of deep lying player to spray balls, to see balls over the top, to make those passes. So if we can maybe test that out a little bit more, that'd be great. Also, Collier, my boy, you do what I need you to do. I don't need you to be Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need you to be dribbling around, man, and then playing 1-2s and looking silky. I don't need you to do that.
Yep.
I don't need you to be spraying the long balls like Bruno. I need you to do what you did today. Win that ball back, have energy, and play it simple.
Do you know what you saw, though? Do you know what you saw in that middle as well? And this, for me, was important. And it was, look, he made a very... And I'm so glad that the Rangers, as much as people say, well, that they should have scored, there's a difference when Garnacho has a shot that's going in and the defender makes a great block. It's an element of, it's a really good block. I don't want to take nothing away from Bayandere, but that save when Collier loses the ball in the middle and then they go through one-on-one, that was a stumble from the Rangers player why they didn't score. So they're to blame for not... People go, they should have scored. Yeah, but their player fell over. Like, I'm not gonna praise them for tripping up as an example, right? He made a mistake. But from that moment until he came off, Collier was amazing. But what we get with Bruno and Collier in the middle, and I don't even think there are better players out there that can do this. We had more power and more pace. Now, I'm not saying they're electric with their speed and super strong, but much more than you get with if we'd have played Mainu and Ericsson in the midfield tonight. There is just more running. There is more legs. Then we were able to dominate the ball more because we were winning it back, which meant you still saw Bruno at the edge of the box on more occasions than not. So you still got the best out of him in that regard. And look, Ahmad, I love him and I praise him. I still think he should have done a lot better tonight with his final ball or his shooting. I thought he made quite a few mistakes tonight. But I love the fact he perseveres and he keeps going and he keeps going. Before I go, I was going to go to Sunshine. I'm not sure where she's gone. I wanted to ask you though about another player that might go unnoticed tonight, but Lenny Yoro. He's had a lot of criticism, KJ. He's been ripped into for his performances. But what did you make of him tonight when he was on the pitch?
I thought he was very solid. Today. And while what I saw from him today, which was different, that we haven't really seen from him, was him driving forward with the ball. And there's one sequence where he's playing, I think it was with Ahmad, 1-2s around the defenders, and then going on into the final third. I think Amarim needs that more from his centre-backs because his midfielders aren't naturally maybe going to be the highly creative guys sometimes in games. We've seen it with Martinez a lot under Amarim and throughout his United career. And we need that more of that from Yoro, which is driving forward the ball and looking for those passes. And he did that well today. And I'm excited to see how I'll develop. Now, was he perfect? No. There's some shaky moments in there, like especially when he let that ball go for a corner when he clearly should have like cleared it out or took control of the situation and did something else. So he's still learning in those moments how to deal with certain things. But overall, considering the way he got cooked against Southampton, he's slowly recovering. And that's what we like to see. The mentality is there, I think, with this kid. People expecting him, like, there's a video about him going around where he's squaring up to, I think, a Brighton player. I think it might have been Solly March. And people laughing at him, saying, "Oh, he hasn't got the dog in him. He ain't got the minerals. He's not a hard man. Like, what has he got?" But I don't think every player needs to be like that, and I don't want him to be like that.
I actually watched that video clip, and I didn't see what they were. I didn't get what they were saying.
I think it's because he wasn't pushing and shoving.
Do you know what I saw? Do you know what I saw when I grew up?
Yeah.
Something my dad taught me when I first started getting pubs and clubs. My dad said, "Look, son, when you're out, first of all, keep your mouth shut, right? Unless you're with all your mates and your brothers." He said, "But," he said, "whenever you're in a sticky situation, because it will happen as young men when you're out," he says, "don't be afraid of the mouthy one. Always be afraid of the quiet, timid one, because they're often the most dangerous." And that's why when I see someone like Euro, where he doesn't look scared, but he ain't giving it the big one, that's when I look at him and think, I don't think he is some sort of pussy. But just an update on both him and De Ligt. They both told the bench they felt something in their leg. So they took them off to not risk them. So fingers crossed, nothing too major. A few people saying, "Terry, you're lying. Euro got cooked today." Well, I just went and checked. He didn't get dribbled past once. He won his duels. He won his tackles. Lenny Euro, for an 18-year-old, making one of his first starts for the club was brilliant. I felt tonight as well. And another positive for Man United that I want to pull on tonight is that Ruben Amorim becomes only the third manager in Man United history to win his first 3 games in Europe at the club. And I think, and no one has done it since Sir Alex. So again, there's so much negativity around our club. There's every bad stat. There's every bad record. And you'll get all the Man United fans that want him to fail. You'll get all the Man United fans who like to side with rivals and side with the media that slag us off every day. And you get a Man United fans that do that as well, pulling on all the bad things that have happened. You'll barely see any of them mention first Man United manager since Sir Alex. The prior one to him was, of course, Sir Matt Busby to win his first 3 European games. So congratulations to him. Sky, great to have you back on the terrace. Long time no see. Is that your dog on the bed? I can see as well, by the way.
Yeah. It's nice.
Nice. What did you make of United today? Obviously, we haven't spoken a while, but what did you make of Man United and our performance tonight?
Yeah, I happen to agree a lot with KJ. I feel like obviously it's very nice to get the win, and I definitely wanted to win considering what was at stake for the Europa League. And it was nice to see some good things, especially with Eriksen in that 10 position, and seeing the chemistry between him, Ahmad, and Bruno was really nice. So there were definitely some positives. But like KJ said, I think for me, and it's been multiple games this season, it's the finishing, right? It's the quality of being able to get the ball in the back of the net, because that's how you win the games. And for me, I think that's the biggest thing that we're going to have to work on if we want to improve this season, I think. And this season is unique because we have players in roles they're not used to. It's difficult to really critique sometimes at players right now because they're not in positions they typically play. Dallo at left wing back doesn't work for me most of the time. You know, it's hard for me to watch. And so it's hard for me to really try to critique and go on these players when they're not in positions that they will thrive in, you know? And so I think it's on Amorim to try to find a way to get these players to play well with who we have right now in order to get wins. And I think that's the pieces of the puzzle that he's trying to put together. Putting Eriksen in the 10, putting Bruno in that midline with Collier might be something that he found. You know, I think Bayern has been great, especially outside of matches that Onana is not playing. So I think he has been.
Sorry, sir. I'm a Bayern hater. I'm just gonna admit it to everyone now. I don't like him.
I'm somewhere in the middle. Up until we saved that penalty against Arsenal, I said just sell him, get rid of him, because I felt every second of him in goal up until that point was nervous, indecisive, poor decision making. Since then, I've been impressed, but I don't want to praise.
Nobody's asking for a switch. I don't want him to start over Onana.
Well, no, I do. I do actually right now, but I don't want to say it. And do you know why? do you know why though? And it's a hard one, because I feel that one of Ten Hag's biggest mistakes is that he didn't punish bad performances. So you saw in the last few games, mainly we had some issues. Ugarte had some issues. Onana most certainly in the last game had issues. And tonight, a lot of them were dropped. And there's one of the notes I made, but obviously the course of the game has changed that. And I looked at Onana being dropped as really significant. And I hope and I know he conceded tonight. Very little he could do about that goal. I hope that he, by end there, starts again. Now, I don't think he's the answer. I don't think he is the guy to take us forward in goal. However, I do feel as though we need to start on a more regular basis at Old Trafford is promoting meritocracy. And the mistake from Onana for that third goal against Brighton, for me, that's almost something that if someone that is the equivalent of a doctor leaving a scalpel in during surgery. It's such a bad mistake for such a simple ball. I find it unforgivable. I can't get over it. And if he just keeps playing, I think it sends a bad message to the rest of the dressing room. So even if Bayern is not the guy we want forever, I still think there's an element there where we should say, well, do you know what? You've actually had 2 good games on the bounce now. You get to start for the foreseeable. And I think we've got to start promoting that. Eriksen, you played well in the 10. I think he should get another start there. I think he's too good. He ain't the goal threat. But again, Xerxes played well. You start again. Collier, you played well. You should get a game. I feel like we've got to start promoting. You play well, you keep starting football matches, barring rotation. I felt too much in the last 5, 6, 7 years at our club. You know who's going to start games, win, lose, or draw, and that becomes problematic for me.
No, I hear what you're saying, but I think there still needs to be a balance between being serious and being kind. You know, like I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to see Bayern in the Premier League. I don't want to see Onana in the Premier League. I'd rather see Heaton. You know, if you want to do meritocracy, my man's been here for 4 years and he's never complained. Give him a chance, you know. But now, like, we do need to get that balance, and I think Amorim, until we get players that actually suit his system, he's gonna have to keep chopping and changing until he finds something that works. Like even something like I saw today when who came off now? When Euro came off and Malacia came on, I was like, is he actually gonna do 4 at the back? Is that what's happening? And he didn't, and Delot ended up being right centre back. You know how much better he looked being away from the forward line and being able just to facilitate playing. I'm like,
that's not what his role is.
Because he's not an attacker, and I think that it's why when we see I mean, defenders are defenders, right? And it's why Luke Shaw looked okay and very good sometimes playing in centre-back roles, because we had the ball so regularly against most teams that when they're actually in game, he's in a lot of positions that the old-fashioned left-backs used to being as an example. And you are right. You were definitely right about that. There's no doubt about it. Let's do something.